The 2026 MotoGP preseason has officially hit a fever pitch, but for Yamaha's high-profile rookie Toprak Razgatlıoğlu, the atmosphere is anything but celebratory. Following the initial test sessions in Malaysia, the Turkish superstar has delivered a surprisingly gloomy assessment of his current standing within the Premier class. While the world expected an instant transition, Toprak appeared visibly lethargic in the paddock, admitting to journalists that he anticipates a brutal struggle during the opening rounds of the championship. The king of superbikes has found that the throne in MotoGP is protected by a much steeper learning curve than he previously imagined. As the dust settles on the Sepang circuit, the question remains, is Toprak facing a temporary hurdle, or has he finally met a technical wall that even his legendary talent cannot climb? In an uncharacteristic display of public frustration, reports are emerging that Toprak has issued a firm ultimatum to the Yamaha factory masters. The Turkish rider was quoted saying, "I need a fast bike," expressing his deep dissatisfaction with his current position at the bottom of the timing screens. For a competitor whose career is defined by dominance, the sight of Alex Marquez effortlessly topping the charts has created a psychological rift within the Pramac garage. Toprak is no longer interested in developmental promises. He is demanding a machine that can match his aggressive ambitions immediately. With tensions simmering between the rider and the manufacturer, the upcoming trip to Thailand has transformed from a mere practice session into a high-stakes negotiation for Yamaha's future. Yamaha's road to redemption hit a massive mechanical roadblock when a series of unknown technical errors forced the Japanese factory to halt all testing activities. The highly anticipated V4 engine, which was supposed to be Yamaha's ticket back to the podium, was suddenly grounded for a secret technical investigation. This unexpected failure effectively robbed the team of critical development hours, leaving engineers in Japan and Italy working through the night to solve a mystery they had never encountered in their racing history. While the garage doors remained shut in Sepang, the air was thick with rumors of a fundamental flaw that could potentially derail Yamaha's entire 2026 campaign before the first race even begins. When the green light was finally given to restart testing, the relief in the Yamaha camp was palpable, but it reportedly came with a hidden mechanical cost. Paddock insiders suspect that in order to protect the new V4 engine from a catastrophic failure, engineers were forced to implement a strategic RPM sacrifice. By lowering the engine's maximum revolutions, Yamaha ensured the bike would survive the test, but at the potential expense of the raw top speed Toprak so desperately craves. It was a 24-hour engineering compromise made in the shadows of the pit box. As the bikes returned to the track, the stopwatch began to tell a story of a machine that was safe enough to ride, but perhaps too slow to win. While Toprak battles the machine, Yamaha's management is fighting a secondary war in the corporate offices regarding their star rider, Fabio Quartararo. Rumors have intensified following the technical failures in Sepang, with reports linking the former world champion to a blockbuster 2027 deal with Honda. Team director Massimo Marigali has been forced into aggressive damage control, attempting to convince both his riders that the current V4 issues are merely growing pains. The stability of the entire Yamaha project now rests on a knife's edge. If Yamaha cannot provide a reliable and fast prototype in the coming days, they risk losing not just the rookie sensation, but the very foundation of their racing heritage. Due to the lost development time in Malaysia, the upcoming test in Buriram, Thailand, has been elevated to a season-defining event. Massimo Marigali has publicly stated that what we couldn't do in Sepang, we will do in Thailand, effectively doubling the pressure on the technical crew. They are now tasked with packing an entire month's worth of data collection into just 48 hours of track time under the blistering Thai sun. There is no longer any margin for error or mechanical hiccups. As the freight planes head toward Buriram, the Yamaha garage knows that their performance next week will determine the trajectory of the March 1st season opener. Beyond the engine failures, Toprak is facing a personal battle against the characteristics of the sensitive Michelin tires. He has been remarkably candid about his struggles, explaining that his superbike instincts are actually working against him in the MotoGP environment. If the Pirelli slips, it's easy to control, but if the Michelin slips, it simply doesn't stop, Toprak lamented. He finds himself trapped between the aggressive sliding style that made him a legend and the surgical, smooth precision required by the M1 V4. Breaking down this technical wall requires more than just courage. It requires a total rewiring of a rider's biological reflexes in record time. In a desperate move to find rear-end grip, Toprak is planning a radical departure from standard Yamaha settings for the final test in Thailand. He is demanding a completely new suspension configuration and cornering help to compensate for his lack of feel in the Michelin rubber. This setup gamble represents his final chance to find the click needed to compete with the leaders at the front of the pack. If these experimental changes fail to yield results in Buriram, the opening round could be a long and painful weekend. It is a high-risk strategy that could either unlock Toprak's true potential or leave him completely lost in a maze of technical data. In a moment of cold, analytical calculation, Toprak has reportedly begun to obsessively study the data of his rivals, specifically the benchmark pace of Alex Marquez. He has recognized that his traditional method of sliding the bike to initiate a turn is the exact opposite of what the modern MotoGP era demands. The resolution for Toprak is no longer just about engine power. It is about a total reconstruction of his riding DNA. He is attempting to mimic the smoothness of the Ducati riders while still keeping his competitive edge. The transformation from a superbike gladiator to a MotoGP technician is a race against the clock that the entire world is watching. Despite the technical probes, the RPM sacrifices, and the psychological pressure, the official stance from the Yamaha camp remains one of defiant optimism. With the support of the Pramac team and a legendary work ethic, Toprak Razgatlıoğlu still believes that a MotoGP victory is within his reach. However, as the lights go out on the Sepang test, the road to the opening round looks longer and more difficult than anyone ever expected. The hunt for the 2026 title truly begins in Thailand, and for Toprak, the time for talking is officially over. The shakedown is finished, the secrets are laid bare, and the world is waiting to see if a fallen giant can finally stand up and roar.